You want me to start with 1973?
Yes, please.
Okay. I met Roger in 73 doing some work on our home, and in 74 my husband and I bought 34 acres of land, and there was a barn on it that should come down. So I called Roger and I said, we have a barn, you're doing barn wainscoting in doctor's offices, come take a look. So he came out in 74 and said, Ellie, what do you want to do? What do you want to build? I said, I want to build a log cabin up on the hill. And he shook his head and he said, Ellie, why are you buying wood when you've got wood? He said, you work with me and my cousin and my son, and we will teach you carpentry and we'll have an old barn raising. And he said, let's convert it into a home.
Roger Sr. was not only a craftsman, but in my opinion, sort of a philosopher, and he was, a very hardworking man, very gentle man, took people under his wing, and he embodied the heritage of New England.
I loved the way he approached business. I loved the way he approached life. And even to today, the philosophy that you'll find in the Country Carpenters catalog, he wrote all of that.
This business was never for him about how much money he made. It was about lifestyle, and had a really clear vision for where he saw this company generations from now. He wanted a company that would make a difference in people's lives in the future.
We were actually a remodeling firm. When we had a client come to us and ask us about an old barn that they owned, they asked us what they should do with it. And my dad said, well, you could take it down and reassemble it back on your property. That was really the start of, working with New England style type buildings. We actually built them 3 different barns, and one of them was like similar to a carriage shed, and that was actually one of the first models Country Carpenters built on their property on Webster Lane in Bolton. And for many years we used that as a model, and it was offered as a building kit and or a building we could build for our clients.
In 1993, when I started, the company was in Bolton, Connecticut, right behind our founder's house, so it was literally a backyard business. He had a couple of reassembled tobacco barns in his backyard, and so we had 2 workshops, one where we did more of the finished items and one further in the backyard where we actually cut the big timbers for the post and beam buildings.
We actually bought one of the first Apple computers, and we were able to make our material lists. At 65, he learned how to draw buildings with CAD. I learned how to draw buildings. We'd draw that building once. Then we could easily move doors and windows, but it was the same main frame, typically.
Once our website went live, the company really started exploding. At one point, we really just had to kind of pull the reins back and say, okay, what kind of a business do we want to be? We had a very visual product, so the marriage with the internet was it was a beautiful thing, and the company really started taking off. So, we were having big tractor trailers of lumber coming into this residential area in Bolton at our original location, and it was at that point where we realized we needed to find a better location for the business. And so after looking at several properties, Roger Jr. and Roger Sr. decided on a parcel here in Hebron, Connecticut.
The building out back was just a 1-story building, but it was tall, so we put a 2nd story in it, and that became our workshop. And in no time at all, we had grown into that building.
And I remember Roger Sr. would always say he wanted to create a building, he wanted to create a facility, he wanted to create a village that when someone came here, they would walk up here and they would stop and they'd look at it and they'd say, I've arrived. This is what I want.
So with our barn business already well established at its new location in Hebron, Roger and Roger saw the opportunity to expand the business. And it wasn't a brand new idea, but now we could really concentrate our efforts toward offering a home, an early New England style home that would complement the barns. It took us about 10 years of just careful planning and research before we actually opened the doors here at Early New England Homes.
My grandfather, he built a business in his backyard and he was really happy with it. And I mean, my father was the one who kind of came in and really went forward with taking those extra steps to expand the company over here into Hebron.
2000 and 2001, 2, 3, 4, we went from doing 80, 90 buildings a year to doing 180 buildings a year. And I don't know how we did it. I mean, I don't know. We had, of course, we had some really good guys, dedicated employees, and had that same vision of, the New England style. And they brought a lot of different talent to the table.
My father grew up in the blacksmith shop. My grandfather was a town blacksmith here in Hebron in the early 1900s. Then as I grew up, I ended up being the one growing up in the blacksmith shop, learning the trade from my father. We provide all the hand-forged hardware for Country Carpenters and Early New England Homes. And it's been exciting because all the tools that we use are my grandfather's tools.
When people buy a building, that sense of pride that we have here when we make one of these buildings, that sense of pride transfers to the customer.
The folks that we hire here, have that same excitement to them, the same want to work with their hands, to create a project, a building that will last for generations, that they can say they were part of.
The next chapter is training, passing on those traditions, passing on an appreciation for what we do here. So it's just it's a pleasure trying to inspire the next generation, trying to teach them these different techniques, and it's a joy to see them develop and become masters in their own way.
With our barn company already doing really well established, and a brand new home business doing well, in 2024, we decided it was really prudent of us to better clarify what those two different brands offered. With the name Country Carpenters, a lot of people didn't realize what our barn company was. They thought we were just country folk that did carpentry, right? So here we are in 2024. We have Early New England Homes offering period style homes, and we have Post and Beam Barns offering post and beam barns, with Country Carpenters as the parent company over both. So the philosophy that served us well for 50 years will continue to guide both these two businesses into the future.
Country Carpenters is definitely a family-owned business, but it was always so important to the guys that work with us. We're really part of the family too, because without them we wouldn't have been able to do what we've done.
It's totally a family atmosphere, but I think that was really fostered and created at Webster Lane. So all of our employees that we brought over from that carry that, legacy employees carry that with them.
Roger Sr., Roger Jr., and RB3 have continued that quality of construction. And I don't know what it is, a passion, the love, 3 generations of artisans who passed on, like the old days, you passed on the subtleties of construction that make you distinct.
When you're as busy as we've been, years go by pretty quick. It's a really nice thing that, 50 years later, we're still spotting the New England countryside and over the country with beautiful New England style post and beam barns.